Welcome to the Super Saber Society August Video of the Month. Okay, this is a Super Saber Society Video of the Month. We're at the beautiful home of Eddie Bracken, Vice President of Super Saber Society in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And we're here with General Retired Butch Vasilio and Major General Retired Ed Bracken. Butch, tell us how you got into the flying business in the Air Force.
Well, Shep, my dad was a career fighter pilot, and I was born into a P-39 wing. Saw him through P-38s, P-51 Group Commander up at New Hampshire in the 40s, F-86s later. But I have to tell you that my love affair with the Hun started while I was in high school. I lived on Foster Field, Texas, and there was a fighter day wing there. Watching those Huns fly every day, meeting some of the pilots that flew them at the gym or at the pool, I thought they were all Superman. And all I wanted to do was make it to the Air Force Academy, which was just then starting, and fly the Hun. And by God, that's the way it happened.
Ed, how about you? How'd you get in the Air Force?
Well, I always wanted to fly too, but I went the ROTC route. I went to RPI in Troy, New York, which was my hometown. And my passion was to join the Air Force and be a flyer. So I went to Moore Air Base in Texas, down by McAllen, Texas, and flew the T-34 and the T-28. That was the last of the great fighter pilots, the airplanes in flying training. They went to the Tweet after we left, and then Craig and the T-33s, and my instructor in Craig Air Force Base was a guy by the name of Sparky Hanner, and he's one of the few guys that was not a FAPE, and he had just come off a 100 assignment, and he grabbed a hold of us, three guys sitting on his table, and he says, I want to make fighter pilots out of all you, and I want to make 100 guys out of all you. So we finished up, I finished up number one in the class, and got the pick, and I took a F-100. The other table mate took an F-100, and then the third one, who could have had 100s because we were top 1, 2, 3, he took a C-124, and Sparky Hamner almost ripped his head off and did nasty things to him. And he asked him afterwards, why did you take the 124? And he says, well, I want to go fly commercial airplanes when I get done with my tour. Well, the bottom line, his name was Jack Livingood. You may have known him. That he flew helicopters, the Jolly Greens, and he got about 3 silver stars in Vietnam, pulling air crews out. So that's how I got to 100, and I never regret it.
So Butch, what was your experience in 100? Where'd you go once you got into it?
Well, Shep, I flew the airplane for not quite 2 years in 64 and 65. At Luke, of course, in training, and then at Homestead Air Base down near Miami in the 309th TAC Fighter Squadron. Being a bachelor in the Miami area, driving a red convertible was tough duty, but I figured out how to survive, and the flying could not have been better. I was in a great first squadron. We all respected one another. I was a first lieutenant, but they treated me as an equal. I got to do some wonderful things. Got my first ocean crossing, went to Izmir, Turkey for 6 months of incredible flying. Had super mentorship. Tom DeGraff and Reed was the squadron commander. Big Joe Howard was my flight commander. My mentor and inspiration was B.B. Johnson. It was great. It was a little abbreviated because in '65, with my fangs hanging out, I was sure that the Southeast Asia War was never going to be a jet war. So an opportunity to fly the A-1 Sky Raider came down, and I jumped at it. Went through training at Hurlburt, got to Benoit, and there was my F-100 squadron waiting for me. It was kind of funny, but looking back, I will never regret volunteering for the A-1. I learned a lot flying that in combat.
Where'd you fly the A-1 in Vietnam?
I was in the 602nd Commando Squadron. We started at Benoit. After about 4 months there, we moved up to Nha Trang on the beach. Beautiful spot. But just a short time there, and then the squadron deployed up to northern Thailand, and we started flying armed reconnaissance in Laos and southern part of North Vietnam. But more importantly, we got to participate in the Sandy mission, and that was the most rewarding thing I could possibly imagine.
Yeah. So Ed, when you got your 100 assignment. Where'd you go after that?
Well, I spent a year at Luke and 9 months at Luke, and then 3 months in Nellis for the top-off training, dart training. And then I went to England Air Force Base, and basically the Cuban crisis down at Homestead Air Force Base, and then went to Turkey, to Incirlik for 6 months, like Butch did. And we sat alert there in the Hun. There was our one squadron. At the time, there was 2 wings at Alex, 401st, and I forget the other one. And so we had a total of 8 squadrons, and we always kept 1 squadron at Alex, and then at Incirlik, and 1 from Cannon. So I come back from that TDY over there, and about 6 months later I went to Itazuki and doing the 8th TAC Fighter Wing and the 35th TAC Fighter Squadron, and sat alert over at Osan, Korea in the 100. And then,
That was Nuke Alert.
Nuke Alert, yeah. And then I went back and transitioned to the 105 and come back, and the wing moved up to Yokota, and we went TDY down there in the 105 for probably a year, and then I come back to States and I flew to 100 again in the test program at Eglin Air Force Base. When I got out of Edwards, I went to Eglin. I was down there for 2 years and flew to 100, the 105 and the 111 in the test program down there.
Awesome. So, Butch, as you look on your F-100 experience and the old fighters and whatever, what do you think about the old fighters compared to the new fighters the kids are flying today?
Well, I got to fly just about all of them because after my experience down there around Miami and then my Vietnam experience in the A-1, I had 30 more years to go, and I did a lot of different things. I flew the F-4 in 2 or 3 assignments. Later in life, I got to be a wing commander in both F-16s and then F-15s. So while I can't deny that all the application of technology in the newer fighters really helps the pilot be effective, that time in the Hun back at Homestead kind of built a foundation of flying skills and perspectives that served me well for all those decades.
Ed, as you look at the old airplane, what do you start off in the C model or the A model or what?
At Luke we were flying the C, and then we went up to Nellis and went to the D, and then we had Ds at both Alex and Itazuki, and then of course the next time we touched the airplane was at Eglin, and we had Ds and Fs down there, and I got to do some pretty nifty things in the 100 weapons release. Basically, we were doing seek equal testing, weapon delivery off of the 100, the 105, and of course the 111. I flew all 3 of them at the same time.
Yeah. So of all the airplanes you flew, what's your favorite airplane?
I think from a nostalgic viewpoint, the F-100, because as Butch said, you had to really develop your skills to fly it, and so when you transitioned into the other airplanes, it was a piece of cake, if you will. The 105 was a Cadillac, and the 111 was a Cadillac, the model that we flew, the F model, which had pave tack and laser-guided bombs on it. But the 100 was a challenging airplane. I almost spun it once, and then I had an experience in testing the Bolo bombs. I made the only drop. I did the seek equal strike, rattle, and roll flutter testing on it, and then I made the first drop on it. It was a laser-guided bomb connected to 2 other 750s by a length of cable of about 500 feet, and the first laser-guided bombs were a bang-bang control system. So when you drop the bombs, they come off together and a band split, and the laser-guided bomb went out in front, and then the bang-bang control system, not proportional rate, which is gradual. So it snapped down to where the laser was, and the other bombs, and then it snapped back up, and pretty soon the Bolo was going like this, and the unguided bombs were out in front of the guided ones, and the cables broke and they went in 4 different directions.
We'd call that jury rigging today. So both of you guys look at the old Air Force and the new Air Force. What message have you got for the new kids out there?
Stay committed. Good things will happen.
I think it's a very challenging time for young air crews in the Air Force, particularly kids coming out of the academy, and a lot of uncertainty with the war over in what if you want to call it a war, and the commitment they have to make to that thing requires a great deal of dedication on their part.
Well, it's good that old guys can still think and can still talk. Thank both of you very much.
Thanks, Shep.